Hey everyone, we're about to start reading our next novel titled Number the Stars, and it's written by Lois Lowry. And before we get started, I thought it would be important for you to have a little background information. So, first and foremost, I want you to know that this story is set during World War II in the 1940s, and it takes place in the country of Denmark. And people who live in Denmark are known as Danes, or sometimes referred to as Danish when we're talking about them in plural. And this story is a book about what life was like living in Denmark during World War II. Now, the setting is in Copenhagen, a city in Denmark, and it's 1943, and German forces have invaded the land surrounding Germany. Now, Great Britain and France have joined forces together to try and stop Germany. In this story, Germany has invaded Denmark, and any Jews who are living in Denmark fear their lives. Now, these are a couple of maps, and as you can see, Denmark is in Europe, right here. And if we zoom in a little more closely, here's Denmark, here's Copenhagen, and to the north is Sweden, and then to the south is Germany. Now, at this time, Germans are led by a man named Adolf Hitler, and he believed that German people were members of a master race that should take over the world. And Hitler was the leader of the Nazi Party. Now, the Nazis believed that Jewish people were the most dangerous race alive, and they wanted to rid the world of all Jewish people. In 1938, over 1,000 synagogues were burned and 30,000 Jews were arrested. And Jewish people began to flee Germany. The Nazi Party created these things called concentration camps, and these were work camps with horrendous conditions. And this is where Jewish people were sent. As the Nazi Party became more powerful, they captured more and more countries and more Jewish people. Now, this map shows where concentration camps and killing centers were. And again, here's Denmark. Here's Germany, and here's Sweden. And take a look around Germany. Anywhere that you see this little symbol, okay, this one here, those were concentration camps. And anywhere where you see the skull and crossbones were killing centers. And if you're not familiar with it, this symbol right here is called a swastika. In 1940, the country of Denmark was captured by the German Nazis. There were about 8,000 Jewish people living here at the time, and at this point, already 1,500 Jewish people had fled Denmark, and they had done that in the early 1930s. In 1943, when the Danish people heard that Germans had decided to arrest and imprison Jews, they formed the Danish Resistance. And the Danish Resistance is going to be a key part of the story, Number the Stars. And finally, many of the Danish Jews decided that it was just too dangerous, and they also began to flee Denmark, just as they had in Germany. This is a photo of certain Danish people who were getting ready to flee their homeland to find safety. And you might be wondering, well, how bad was life for Jewish people under the Nazi rule? Pick any adjective that goes along with horrible. All right. There were many rules that Jewish residents had to abide by, and the rules were enforced by the Nazis. And these rules impacted anybody who had at least one Jewish grandparent. Okay, so in many places, Jews had to wear a yellow six-pointed star, and they had limited use of public transportation. Additionally, they had to hand in or turn over their bicycles. They were not prohibited to attend music events, sporting events, or theatrical events, and they could only shop at Jewish-owned stores between the hours of 3 and 5 p.m. Children had to attend Jewish schools and couldn't visit with their Christian friends, and all Jews had to be indoor by 8 p.m. They could not hold government jobs, and non-Jewish citizens were ordered not to use Jewish doctors or hire Jewish lawyers. Any Jewish teachers were fired, and Jews who owned stores had to mark their windows with the word Jew, and eventually they had to sell their businesses to non-Jews. And, of course, Jewish residents had no political rights. Now, this time period became known as the Holocaust, and Holocaust means burn. It was first used in the late 1950s to refer to the death of the Jews at the hands of the Nazis. And today we honor and remember victims of Nazi torture through special museums, documentaries, and stories such as this one, Number the Stars.